They said my daughter was too much drama to be part of the family Christmas dinner. That night, while laughter filled my parents' mansion, she sat alone in a cold, dark house, staring at the tree we decorated together, waiting for me to call. But what my family didn't know was that this Christmas, I was about to flip their world upside down. Before the story unfolds, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because this story is about karma, power, and a mother's silent revenge that no one saw coming. Last year, my daughter Emily was everything to me, kind, gentle, and full of light. But my parents, especially my mother Margaret, never liked her. They called her spoiled, ungrateful, and a burden. The truth, Emily just reminded them too much of me, the black sheep they had spent years trying to break. When I divorced my husband, my family turned their backs on me. They said I brought shame to the family name, but when I left, I didn't just walk away. I built something of my own. I worked quietly, night after night, building a small online business while everyone thought I was struggling. So when Christmas came around, I was excited to finally reconnect. I wanted Emily to feel the love I never had growing up. But then came that call. My mother's voice, cold as ice, said, "Alicia, maybe it's better if you don't bring Emily this year. The family wants peace, not chaos." I froze. "She's just 10, Mom. She's your granddaughter." "She's your daughter," she said, "and your mistakes shouldn't ruin our holiday." That night, Emily cried herself to sleep while holding the little gift she made for her grandparents, a handmade snow globe. I promised her we'd still have a good Christmas, even if it was just us. But deep down, something inside me broke, because this time, I wasn't going to stay silent. The next morning, while the snow covered every roof in the neighborhood, I stood by the window watching Emily sleep on the couch, our small living room still glowing with cheap fairy lights. That moment, something inside me clicked. I realized they didn't just exclude her. They humiliated me all over again, through her, and that was something I could never forgive. I poured myself a cup of coffee and opened my laptop. For years, my family believed I was just a struggling single mom, running a small craft store online. What they didn't know was that my little craft store had quietly grown into one of the top-selling home decor brands in the country, with warehouses, staff, and even international clients. I built an empire while they laughed behind my back. My brother, Jason, loved to remind everyone how lazy I was for quitting my corporate job. He once said, "Alicia, you'll end up selling candles forever." He had no idea those candles were paying for 3 houses and a brand deal worth more than his annual salary. So, I decided to send a Christmas gift, not a card or a message, but an invitation. A formal one, to everyone in my family. It was for a private dinner celebration at a luxury restaurant downtown, signed by Alicia and Emily, the same people who banned my daughter were about to eat at my table, under my name. When I told Emily, her eyes lit up. "Grandma and Grandpa will be there?" she asked softly. "Yes," I said with a calm smile. "But this time, sweetie, we won't be the ones left out." That week, I made sure everything was perfect. The restaurant was booked exclusively. The decorations were elegant, gold, white, and deep red. And right at the center, I had a table setting for Emily, with a name card that said, "The most important guest." But what my family didn't know was that this dinner wasn't just a gathering. It was a reveal, a silent, explosive truth I'd been waiting years to show. When the night of the dinner finally arrived, the air outside was crisp and sharp, and every corner of the restaurant shimmered with golden lights. The entrance had a giant sign that said "Private Event," reserved for Alicia Harden guests. The manager personally welcomed every arriving family member, each of them too stunned to realize that the place was rented entirely by the same woman they once called a failure. My mother, Margaret, entered first, chin lifted, wearing her usual fake grace. Behind her came my brother Jason with his smug wife, Lindsay. They looked around, whispering. Jason frowned. "Who the hell rents out this whole place for Christmas?" Lindsay smirked. "Probably some influencer wasting daddy's money." Then I walked in, wearing a simple black dress, nothing flashy, just confidence. Emily held my hand, her curls bouncing as she smiled shyly. Every head turned. For a moment it was silent. Then Margaret forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Alicia, you actually came." "Oh, I wouldn't miss this for the world," I said softly, guiding Emily to her seat, right at the center, under a spotlight. The waiter handed Margaret the evening's menu. On top of it was an elegant envelope with gold letters. From the founder of Lumicraft Home, Alicia Hart. Jason's smirk disappeared. "Wait, Lumicraft? That's your company?" I looked him straight in the eyes. "It's been my company since the day you said I'd never make it." For years, they had bought Lumicraft products, candles, wall decor, furniture pieces, never knowing who was behind it. My mother's voice trembled. "You mean, you built that brand?" "Yes," I replied calmly. "While you called me a disappointment, I built everything you see here, quietly." Jason laughed nervously. "You're joking, right?" "Not at all," I said, sliding a file across the table. "Here's the proof. Revenue reports, contracts, and this restaurant. Lumicraft sponsors it for the holidays every year." The color drained from his face. Margaret looked down, speechless for the first time in her life. Emily watched them with wide eyes, gripping my hand. I leaned forward, voice steady but sharp. "You banned my daughter from Christmas dinner because you thought we were beneath you. Tonight, you're sitting in a restaurant she technically owns part of. Emily has her name on the papers, as my co-owner." The silence that followed was heavy. Jason shifted in his seat. Margaret opened her mouth but couldn't speak. And Emily, with the sweetest innocence, whispered, "Grandma, would you like to see the snow globe I made you last year?" Margaret's eyes glistened, guilt cutting deeper than any words I could have said. But I wasn't done yet. I stood up, raised my glass, and said, "Here's to family, the kind that doesn't need your approval to shine." The waiter dimmed the lights, and the screen behind us lit up, showing Lumicraft's new charity initiative, A Home for Every Child. A video of Emily cutting the ribbon played. Gasps echoed around the table. My daughter's face filled the room with warmth. Margaret whispered, almost in tears, "Alicia, I didn't know." I looked at her, the woman who taught me to be strong by trying to break me, and said, "You never asked." The night ended not with laughter, but with silence, the kind that only truth can bring. As we walked out into the snowy night, Emily looked up at me and smiled. "Mom," she said softly, "did we win?" I smiled back. "No, baby. We just stopped playing their game." The next morning, the world outside was calm again, but inside me, a storm had settled. My phone buzzed nonstop, calls from relatives, messages filled with, "We're proud of you," and "You should have told us." It was funny how silence makes you invisible, but success suddenly makes you family. Emily was sitting by the fireplace, holding a mug of hot chocolate, humming quietly. She looked peaceful, like the little girl who finally got her Christmas back. But deep down, I knew peace never lasted long in my family. Just then, the doorbell rang. When I opened it, Margaret stood there, eyes red, wrapped in a thick coat. For a moment, she didn't speak. She just looked at me the way she never had before. Not with judgment, but regret. "Alicia," she said slowly. "I came to apologize." I folded my arms, unsure if I was ready to hear it. "You don't owe me that," I said. "I owe Emily," she whispered. She reminded me of what I used to be before I cared too much about appearances. Her voice broke, and for the first time in my life, my mother looked small. The woman who once made me feel worthless was now trembling in my doorway. "I saw the video," she said, wiping her eyes. "You didn't just build a company, you built something good, something that matters." Before I could respond, Emily ran up behind me and hugged her grandmother's waist. "It's okay, Grandma," she said softly. "Mom says Christmas is about forgiveness." That tiny moment, the child they rejected now forgiving them, hit harder than any revenge could. We invited her inside. The three of us sat near the fireplace. No fancy dinner, no luxury table, just warmth. Margaret reached into her coat pocket and pulled out Emily's old snow globe, the one she'd left behind last year. She had repaired it. The cracks were sealed with golden glue. "It's called kintsugi," she said quietly. "The Japanese art of fixing what's broken with gold." I thought, it suited us. Tears welled in my eyes. For years I wanted revenge. But in that moment, I realized something more powerful. I'd already won the day I stopped needing their approval. As the snow fell softly outside, Emily whispered, "Can we invite everyone next year, Mom?" I smiled. "Maybe, but this time we'll host it, our way. Because revenge doesn't always end with destruction. Sometimes it ends with peace that no one can take away."